of advice do you have to homeowners?
Practicing that preparedness. Starting the conversation now is always going to be a benefit to any association out there.
And welcome to Recovery Report Live, our live segment where we bring on experts in industries to talk about real estate, business, and insurance topics. We want to give you actionable takeaways, valuable insights. We aim to update, educate, and inform you weekly. I'm Dan Odess, president of Global Pro, where we manage the recovery of over more than $1 billion of loss. That's an important part of this. We want to make sure that you have the information you need to be prepared in the event that any sort of loss occurs. But we also want to make sure that we are tracking the trends, whether it's real estate, whether it's insurance, and for business owners, for community associations, giving you information you can use. Something I want to talk about today is about the Florida legislature. They're back in session and the anti-consumer bills are really flowing in hot this time. Right now we have Senate Bill 76 is being discussed in the Insurance Banking Committee just a couple days ago. This is a law really more geared towards this issue of attorney's fees, plaintiffs' attorney's fees, and also issues regarding roofs, claims made for roofs. But the interesting thing about it is that it's all couched in this idea that these insurance companies are actually not making money. But it's just yet another piece of anti-consumer legislation, because while it's intended to curb some of these costs associated with these claims, albeit legal fees, the reality of it is that they have taken information relating to their financials to use it as the foundation for those changes. And that's really where the problems start. Because the reality of it is that if you look back at what the insurance regulators were looking at in last year, as to these holding companies and these managing entities and the insurance companies and how fees are charged and how they're made and the increase in those costs and those fees, and then you now look at how they're using that information to claim some sort of issues with their financials. It really culminates into some confusing issues that really don't seem to connect. And piling on top of that is this rise in consumer complaints about claim settlements to begin with. Value Penguin, as we've reported in prior segments, was reporting over 68% of policyholders were reporting issues with claim settlements. So we're having issues with claim settlements as consumers are reporting them. We have the regulators looking into the financial structure and how things are so uniquely different here in Florida, where all these holding companies are making boku's cash and boatloads of profit. And at the same time, the insurance companies that are actually selling the products here locally are reporting losses. One thing doesn't seem to connect with the other. And now we're seeing legislators back at it again, anti-consumer legislation that curbs the ability of an insured to fight their insurance company when they're not properly compensated and only award them so much money in fees if they're successful in proving that their insurance company didn't pay them right the first time. Kind of similar to the AOB legislation that passed more recently, where the idea is that we're going to go ahead and regulate the consumer to take care of the issues they were having with the contractors in the litigation that they're engaging in to get their bills paid. So again, some confusing issues, some things that if you start to pull back the curtain and look a little bit deeper into the issues and really go to the foundation of why this legislation is proposed, which is to make these companies more profitable. Are they really not profitable? Because the reality of it is that when you start to dissect how they make money and you look at and you just tune into one of their quarterly reporting meetings, these publicly traded companies, you'll find out potentially a different story in most cases. And that's really where the problem is, right? So we need to make sure that what we're being told as consumers really aligns with what is being proposed at the legislative level, especially if you live in the South Florida area. You're really underrepresented in Tallahassee. I've spent some time up there. And if you don't understand that, research the issue. And so you have the majority of the population living in an area that's underrepresented, and you're dealing with a consumer issue, and you have tremendous amount of money being poured into lobbying for these issues by the insurance companies, and there's a disconnect between profitability of the insurance companies, what's actually being reported by the companies selling the products, and how the claims are being administered and handled at the same time. It really all doesn't add up for us, and it's something that we continue looking at. And these are trends. And we talk a lot about trends here, And our next guests that are joining us are no different. Experts in real estate. They know a lot about trends. And I'm very excited to bring on these two gentlemen, it's two, to discuss real estate trends in South Florida. Because I think it's a particular interest to the nation as it is right now, because you're seeing a lot of influx of people coming in from all over the country to come here to benefit from whether it's tax savings or pro-consumer legislation or regulation for all number of reasons. But I want to really get into it, and I don't want to steal their thunder because these two gentlemen, their firm represents real estate developers, landlords, institutional investors, tenants. It's one of the top commercial real estate brokerages in South Florida. So without further ado, I'd like to invite on Fabio and Sebastian Faerman of FA Commercial, Fortune International Real Estate, to the Recovery Report. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me.
No, thank you for having us.
So I want to get into talk about it may seem like a simple question, maybe just to warm us up here a bit. Where do you see the top of the market in South Florida? There's a lot of talk about this, right? You want ebbs and flows. Everyone's trying to take advantage of that opportunity. So where do you see the top of the market, and are we there yet?
I think that we are not on the top of the market. I think that what we've seen is the first step on that. When I'm talking about, in the pandemics, the waves of the flu coming to here, I see a wave of people coming here. And this is the difference of what happened in other states, that they are totally closed, and these states are open and working. Right now, what we see is people coming from the rest of the state, trying to move to Florida from Chicago, LA, San Francisco, New York, New Jersey. We receive more than 5 calls per day. It's a very differentiation about what happened many years ago. Always we have 80 different countries coming to Florida to live and to buy properties. Right now, these people also, they are trying to be in Florida, but it's very difficult to enter here because the visa process and because, the pandemic and the trips, But I believe we are not on the top of the market. We are seeing the first step going to the top.
No, absolutely. Sebastian, where are you guys seeing the fastest growth or most interest in what sector? Because while we may not be at the top of the market, and I was just reading The Real Deal this morning, and they were talking about San Francisco particularly, Fabio, that I saw that. Where do you see the fastest growth and most interest? What sector? Is it residential, commercial, industrial? Where are you seeing it growing the fastest?
I think it all plays together. We're talking about a lot of people coming here to Florida, to South Florida, and they're bringing their business. So it's picking up on the residential side, it's been very active, as well as the commercial side. A lot of investors have started to shift their acquisition criteria into industrial as well. Everybody has been hearing about it. So I think that everything has ticked up, and there's been a lot more interest in all 3 sectors. The commercial side, you have so many different asset classes that some will tend to do better than others. But residential has been very strong, as Fortune residential agents are telling us. Industrial has been very hot. They're selling at record pricing. So I think everything has sort of ticked up together.
Yeah, and you made an interesting comment there. You have many different sectors in the commercial area. You're seeing this whole Robinhood, AMC, GameStop, explosion in the market, and very interesting pump going on with the shorts, and on the side you have the retailers, right? You have the office buildings, and Fabio, I got to ask you, is retail and office dead, or are we going to see a revival?
Really, it's a good question. Everybody is asking the same, but I try to respond to that because I understand that, what you say about what is Wall Street and what is Main Street.
Yeah.
And this is totally different. Always is like that. Wall Street, I try to anticipate some stuff, but the talk that you're talking about, Robinhood, is a different story.
Yep.
It's like a lot of speculation there that we cannot control. and always they don't end so well. The good thing about real estate is that you have a safe investment for a long term, and you have appreciation on that, you have income, and at the end of the day, it's very good for any person trying to invest. What you talk about retail and office, going directly to the point, I really think personally that is the best moment to buy that, because you are buying retail in that they are empty, a very good pricing that you cannot buy many years ago. Also in the office sector, when the companies told me that they will not come back to the office, here in Fortune we are working all together again from the office. And I saw a lot of companies coming back to the office because you see that is more effective way to work, because people wants to go out. At the end of the day, you want to go out, and the retail experience is the concept and is the experience to go out. People wants to be out. What I recommend everybody try to see the pricing in office. That is the most distressed right now, and you can make a lot of money in the near future.
And what do you think is driving the interest in South Florida? Is it the pro-business? Is it the regulatory? Is it the tax benefits? What are you hearing from your clients, which is why they're deciding to actually make that move? Maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. But what are you hearing from your clients, particularly on the in the business side of it? Why are they relocating their businesses and then buying the houses and doing all that? I mean, it's really like uprooting whole families and moving them to, and a lot of times places they've never even lived or even thought of moving to. What are you hearing from your clients?
Well, to me or to Sebastian?
You, Fabio, take it. You go first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No. What they say is that the clients is all the combination that you say, and more things like the quality of life that you have here, and this is the most important. The people don't want to be in a place that don't allow you to go out, And here you have the sea. And you have, Florida is like an island. If you see, we have east, west, and south water. This is very important. You're living like in an island. And really it's a different location than the rest of the United States, because it's like the capital of all America, and Latin America. When I say that, it's from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. You see a lot of people coming here because they want to live a better life. At the end of the day, it's not only the investment, it's the quality of life.
And I gotta direct this question to the young buck Sebastian over here. Let's talk about tech. A lot of talk about tech in the news, and big companies like Facebook and Microsoft and whatever, you name them. They've hit the headlines. Amazon's up there. Personally, I've heard this before. There was this wave of tech that was going to come to South Florida. It was here to stay. We're going to be the East Coast, Silicon Valley, et cetera, et cetera. Do you see it happening? Is it really coming, and is it going to stay?
I think it's coming. It's been in slower waves than we anticipated or we've been promised. But you're hearing about Microsoft and big companies like them coming to downtown to Brickell to have headquarters here. Amazon has been expanding like crazy in Florida, not just South Florida. So I think that maybe it's not as fast and as heavy as they had promised or maybe had hoped, but it's definitely becoming a tech capital of the U.S.
Yeah. So we talk about owner operators, businesses, right, and buying bringing the business, buying the homes, having the office space eventually, right? We all hope. Mm-hmm. Being a business owner, I can't wait to get my team back into our brand new office that we redeveloped in Coconut Grove, or somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe there's enough interest there. We lease it out. We've been talking to Fabio about that. So, but there's a difference between existing structures and new developing, right? They're totally, a lot of times, different type of clients. Are you seeing the same developer interest? As you are seeing these existing businesses looking for office space, things like that, or is there a spike in developer interest? Or where do you measure that? Where do you see the developer's interest? Because obviously, land is not an abundance in South Florida. That's one of the things that, I really think contributes to a lot of the, spikes in value that we sometimes see, where you get that one last piece that otherwise would have traded for significantly less, months earlier. Next thing you know, it's the last piece left on a block. Where do you see the developer interest? Is it strong? Is it weak? And what type of buildings are they looking to build?
I think that most of the developers, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Either one, it doesn't matter. We'll go to both of you.
Sunny's first. Sunny's
Yeah. Sebastian, you first. Yeah.
No, I think that some of the developers that we tend to talk to on a day-to-day, or we try to keep up with, they're still very interested. They're picking up new projects. Some have shifted a little bit in the, location and quality, the type of product that they're looking for. Maybe their acquisition is a little bit closer to home, if they buy anything, or like the last piece of land we talked about for an outrageous number. They'll be a little more, careful about what they're buying or where they're looking.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on it, Fabio?
Let me add that, Daniel.
Yeah.
Sorry. We see a lot of increase on interest in developer. Really,
Yeah.
we sold lands and in different locations during the pandemic. And really what we see is the interest of the developer to continue building, because they need to do multifamily buildings. It's the most important thing right now. And also they are focusing in hotels, but they're trying to change some type of layouts, that they need more outside area. They need different type of amenities. This is what we are changing at SC, and a differentiation in the layout of the new projects.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any slowdown on starts. It just seems like the projects are just maybe changing a bit to conform with
Correct.
new desires or restrictions, or the anticipation that this trend may stay, which is people have to eat outside as opposed to always inside. And then how do you build an outside environment that's safe and cool and comfortable like you have inside? So, and I even noticed one of your listings in Brickell area that has a great, covered patio, which has always been there, right? So it's nothing new, and it offers an opportunity. It actually has a small inside, but a very large outdoor patio. Things like that, whereas it may have been looked past by some other, because they wanted to be closer to Main Street. They might actually say, okay, well, actually can serve more people there now safely, so I'm going to go back to that. So it kind of, changes people's perspective on things, which I think is kind of an interesting move. That have you, we had an opportunity to talk a little bit before I came on today about some of the insurance issues, and I'm sure you guys heard of my monologue about some of the misleading information. I'll say what it is. Misleading information about insurance, and some of the hard market we're in. We're seeing dramatic rate increases, and I know, Fabio, you sit on a number of condominium boards that have seen rate increases. How do you think these issues with insurance that have, quite frankly, plagued South Florida for quite some time are going to impact or affect people's decision making when it comes to investing in real estate in Florida?
Really, at the end of the day, I don't see an impact on people making a decision on that, because really the cost of the insurance is lower than the cost of the real estate taxes. Real estate taxes is really an impact that is 2% more or less of the value of the property. And I think this is the most important thing when the people buying something. What I see is in the business that really the impact, because they need to be protected with the loss of income, or wherever you have some floods that they are coming to Florida. That is something that is global. And this is the two things that I think they will impact the business model.
Yeah, I would say for me on my own home, I think last year was the first time where my insurance actually outpaced my taxes. And it just, we were like, my wife and I just looked at I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
But you have if you have a home exemption, it's not the problem.
Yeah.
It's not the problem. But when you have properties that is only for investment, you cannot control the real estate taxes.
Correct.
At the end of the day, it's a cost, because we are a triple net leases. It's a cost for the tenant, and they impact the businesses directly. And nobody's doing anything to try to control the real estate taxes.
Yeah, and I think that's, I I guess, we talked about businesses moving and then the business owners buying homes. So I think you have on the business side, or if you have commercial owner operators, taxes might be that issue. And I think on the home ownership side, obviously the insurance is going to be a drive because your cost of owning, operating the home is going to be significantly impacted by those rates. And I do know, as rates of insurance increase dramatically over and over, and the quality of the product goes down. One of the things I touched on early in the monologue was, when is the banking industry going to step up and look at actually the regulations, and are their interests protected as well as they should be? And I think there's a conflict there between insurance and banking. So we'll see what happens there as we get out of this session.
This is a good point, Daniel, because really the problem with insurance companies, not only with the real estate. If you see healthcare, it's the same issue. They're an insurance company. At the end of the day, we have the same issue. They need to be in some way be protected, but it's more political than
yes. Not a political show. We talk about insurance and business and real estate news you can use. We'll leave the politics to the pundits and mainstream media. We're talking real life South Florida real estate issues, and we're going to stick to that.
Sebastian, what we saw with Sebastian in the last 3 months is the influx of different hedge fund coming to here and family office is standing here in Miami. The good thing about that is they are coming to install to buy office or to lease office, and also they are coming with people to work here that the salary is like 3 or 4 times the regular salary that they have in Florida. That is good. You are bringing people that they earn a lot, they will spend a lot, and it's what is changing in Miami, not in the last 3 years or 1 year, it's in the last 30 years, because you will see this changing in demographics.
Yeah, absolutely. And sticking on the topic of insurance and how it may impact real estate and some other things, before the pandemic, we had the really hot topic was sustainability of our community and sea level rise. I mean, I was on, there was the co-vice chair of the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce, and honestly, every single meeting was consumed about discussions about sea level rise and what are we going to do. I almost don't hear anything about that issue right now. It's all, obviously focused pandemic and tech. That seems to be the two things that the South Florida media wants to focus in on and cover. A lot of politics involved in that, a lot of money involved in that, a lot of changes in our market. But Sebastian, I want to ask you, I mean, how do you see the impact of sea level rise and hurricanes, trying to bring it back to not too long ago, early 2020, late 2019, when that was the issue? Are you seeing people still talk about that as they prospect on real estate and buying, or is that just kind of like, okay, we'll think about that later, or that was yesterday?
I think as a society, we have a short-term memory.
Yeah.
We focus on what's here now. There's a pandemic. It's the word you heard 4 times before you had your first coffee this morning.
Yep.
So, a lot of clients ask me, that's something they think about, and they consider, sea level rise, flood zones, in relationship to whatever it is they're buying. If it's a waterfront property or flood zone that it might be in. But historically, it hasn't been something that they heavily focused on when making an acquisition.
Interesting. Yeah. So, and I have a waterfront property, and I can tell you, just the impacts I've seen. When we first bought there, 2012 to now, the king tides and the different things. It certainly makes you think differently of it when it's right in front of you. But I kind of get the sense that people have kind of moved on from it. I guess we haven't had a really direct hit of a hurricane that's gone right through South Florida. We've had some glancings, whether it was Irma that kind of rode up the side. Certainly hurricane strength issues and damages were caused here. Crane went down on a new development project, things like that, very dramatic.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, but we're early here, talking about something that in a couple months we get into hurricane season. So, we're right around the corner here. Have to think about these things. Fabio, you always seem to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on, new things coming up. I subscribe to your email blast. I love looking at it. To me, And I'm not just saying
Sorry
that
for
because you're
that.
on. Yeah, yeah. It's actually one of the few things I don't unsubscribe to when I get blasted with it. So, curious, are there new projects that you can talk about that are coming up that are just coming onto the market?
From our side, from FA Commercial and Fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have several projects in different locations. We are working with one project in Brickell, very interesting, on the water, trying to revamp all this board on the intercoastal. We bring tenants from international, from Dubai, from Turkey, from Italy, bringing new concept here to Miami. Always we did that, and trying to increase the people coming to Brickell area and downtown. We are talking a lot right now about people going to the suburbs, but really 1 year ago, people wants to come to downtown to live. It's going in and out all the time. But we have a project in South Beach, also retail space, going with an international clientele coming to the area that we cannot disclose yet. We are working with, we are working in Edgewater, on a freestanding building with Amara, that is the best, restaurateur, Michael Schwartz.
Yep.
We are working with them also in another location in Coconut Grove, areas that they are taking, a high level of density, and people like to go there and take a lunch, dinner, or whatever. We are with developers, one in Pinecrest, trying to make a development there for them. And, we have different type of project in retail, office, lands development. And, I don't know, Sebastian, if you want to focus in one of them or.
I'm very interested.
We're working in areas like you mentioned, Coconut Grove, Park Grove residences. It's a sub-market that has grown a lot, like you said, Daniel, with increased density, a lot of new high-end residential projects, and office. I know you're looking to do your next office there.
Always.
Well, really, Sebastian, what we can discuss is the two office buildings that we have, that they very, very, very nice situation in both cases. They are empty right now, most of the building, because they tried to do before the pandemic an agreement with companies that they want to reconvert to an apartment building. That is some trend that is coming.
Right.
Some office building they will convert because they are good location, nice buildings, historic in some cases. And we are working with one in downtown and one in Coral Gables that we are selling. Very nice building for a developer that they are looking for value add properties.
Interesting.
We are working with all of that.
Interesting. Well, I mean, you obviously have a wealth of knowledge, information. I mean, you just covered, I don't even know how many dollars in real estate probably with all those projects combined. It's definitely active. I think if anything else, the silver lining to all the devastation and that's in the wake of the pandemic for South Florida has been the interest in what we have to offer here. I mean, it's basically paradise, right? And I think there's opportunities to take advantage of, and there's always winners and losers in any disaster. Unfortunately, I think a lot of small businesses were the losers here, but I think you're seeing a big rally cry to get around those businesses and to help them, whether it was the Barstool fund that was rolled out, a big thing. A lot of the restaurateurs got together, raised tremendous amount of money to help restaurant industries. Being a bit of a foodie myself, I was very excited to see that and did my part and donating and supporting. And we did a whole rollout campaign, Love in a Bag, to try to help and do our part, as we always have. So I think our community, South Florida, is used to rebuilding and rebounding from these things. So I think that I'm not surprised by how well we have done it here because we have dealt with hurricanes. We've dealt with major events in the past. And so, quite frankly, I think we have that sustainability. And maybe in a couple of years, we'll be back to talking about sea level rise and all the things going on there. But for now, focus is on the pandemic. But, tell us, Sebastian, for our audience, how can they find out more about FA Commercial and Fortune International?
Yes, everything that we discussed, all the projects, everything that we're working on, whether it be on the market, off market, projects, everything's on FA Commercial. That's our website. You can find us on all the social media sites, and you can subscribe as well to our email blast.
Highly recommended. Highly recommend the email blast. If you subscribe to The Real Deal or anything like that, I recommend that you also subscribe to this, because I've noticed that some of the projects don't even make it in The Real Deal, but they are worth reading about. If you are interested in real estate and business, I definitely recommend you guys check out facommercial.com, the website, and again, subscribe to the newsletter. Sebastian, Fabio, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you guys the best of luck. Stay healthy. Well, thank you to our audience. Thank you again to Fabio and Sebastian of FA Commercial, Fortune International Real Estate. Certainly a wealth of knowledge and information. We covered so many different topics today. Everything from real estate to business, and we got into some of the issues regarding insurance. Certainly a lot of changes on that front. There's I'm really, we're going to continue monitoring the legislation sessions. I think they're very important, especially considering the growth and interest in the South Florida region, and the impacts that those changes will have on it. But as always, go online, check us out, getglobalpro.com. You'll see the recovery report there. We launched our new newsletter, Claims Advocate, really cool digital content that you can flip through. Very, very good articles written by our staff about important issues as either businesses or community associations can use. We want to make sure that you guys can always get in touch with us. So reach out to us by call us on our phone, 855-487-7475. Email us, support@getglobalpro.com. But also, most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on social media. Like us, follow us, because that's where you're going to find the latest content. We're always going to be pushing out the latest information that you can use as business owners or community association board members or managers. We want to make sure that you have what you need. And be sure to tune in to not only our live content, but we are putting out daily videos on information that is pertinent to either operators of business, whether commercial real estate, retail space, whatever it may be, as a policyholder that you're going to need, whether you're obtaining new insurance or dealing with a claim situation. We want to make sure that you have the information you can use. So again, thanks for tuning in today on the Recovery Report Live. I'm Dan Odess with the president of Global Pro, where we manage your risk to recovery.